Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing and also finishing off the narration for episode 9, aka chapter 9 of the main story, Stormwatch. And considering this is the final part, no long-winded recap here at the beginning, so for those of you who do know, no time stamp in the comment section below that I usually leave there. Just allow me to say a couple of things before we begin. First off, considering, as per usual, with these final parts, we will be including the final boss battle stage into the narration itself. And furthermore, for maybe listeners who have picked up this narration series starting off from the beginning of Chapter 9, aka Episode 9, I think I said it at the beginning of that narration as well, this entire chapter can be pretty much viewed without prior knowledge to the main story of Arknights. So you can pretty much, like I said, I think I said that at the beginning of that first episode of this chapter, that yes, you can pretty much go and read through this entire thing. It will not spoil you on anything about the main story so far. It is a pretty much self-contained story, just introducing Victoria and everything around it, or rather County Hillock in this case, a part of Victoria. But after today, once we finish the narration on the battle stage that is left, and the epilogue scene right after that concludes the Stormwatch story, the second epilogue is gonna be massive spoiler territory, and I'm gonna repeat myself just before we enter that one more time, just as a reminder. You're free to view it, obviously, and listen to it if you want so. But if you haven't experienced the story up until the end of episode 8, aka chapter 8, you will either be confused or you will be massively spoiled, or both. My bet is on both. But yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm very excited to get this finished, and then next time we are gonna be starting to dive into episode 10 slowly. And I'm definitely excited for that one. Let me tell you that. But let's begin, shall we? So last time we left off on stage 918, and today we are going to be continuing on from 9-19. Just as a quick reminder, I did say I'm not going to do a long-winded recap, but just as a quick reminder, the last time we left off pretty much on a daybreak before the actual daybreak, as someone supposedly as commented on by Bagpipe herself, if I remember correctly. Supposedly that was what happens when Outcast uses all of her bullets. A gigantic white flare bursting forth into the sky, even powerful enough to just split the cloud cover that was putting up a very depressed atmosphere over the city after all that happened. But yeah, that was one finale. But we begin today's narration on 9-19, as I said, titled Gunfire in the Night. Mandragora is in no way impossible to overcome, but our objective is not to defeat her alone. The dark clouds conceal the sun, and the night that follows will be interminably long, but it is fortunate that there remain those who pass on hope. So let's begin with the before part. Our forces have taken over every last part of County Hillock, save a few small pockets. The barracks didn't realize our true strength until it was too late, just as planned. Did you see the looks on their faces? A force they thought to have been wiped out, and suddenly they reappeared, like they were seeing actual ghosts. Their greatest failure coming right as they were celebrating their victories. Not many Victorians left with any fight in them. I almost forgot. My dear classmates are still struggling about in the outskirts. Pitiful, pitiful. Their last-ditch effort isn't going to change anything, and even if we don't so much as lift a finger, they've long been on their last legs, exhausted by the corruption of the military. Mandragora's off looking for them. She's plenty enough to deal with the issue. All according to plan. All except one thing. Longcheng got away. And I want to just stop here just for a second. Yes, that is Rhode's actual name. Longcheng. And yes, that is how you are supposed to pronounce it if I'm doing it correctly. And this is the funny part. If you look this up, you will find that it is the name of a small town on the east coast of Ireland in Dublin. Someone went very on the nose there when choosing Rhode's actual name. I also want to point out that this name does resurface in one other place, and that is in, if I remember correctly, Rhode's module short story that you get with opening her module, which also has a little peek into her past and childhood, which is obviously not so rosy, but it does give a bit of background knowledge to her. I will try and remember to put the module short story, because I did it a long time ago on this channel, into a link into the description of the video. So if you wanna have a peek at that one, you're free to do so. But anyway, continuing in the program. You mean to say my servants have failed? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. They may be fools, but they hardly claim the title of weak. That said, we have no need for them anymore. Their ambitions grew all too quickly. They only knew to fan the flames of war for their own benefit, even plotting to use Longcheng to carry out their plans right under your nose. In the end, off they went, engulfed by a flame of their own appetite. Saved us some trouble. What about you? Me? You know me. All I want is to see the end. I asked you this when we first met. If death is inevitable, an order will always collapse no matter how many times it is rebuilt, then how do those who walk this journey bear with these pointless decisions again and again? And you reached your hand out to me. You showed me that even perished souls can dance brilliantly in death. Ever since, I always wanted to see for myself just how this world looks beyond the flames. Greedy, yet honest. Huh. The biggest difference separating me and those fools is that I know when to lie. So, what will we do with Longcheng? My sister. Who did she pick? We don't know much about the ones who saved her, but they rescued a great deal of city's residents. They seem like a medical something aid group? To tell the truth, I'm deathly curious. They don't seem to have much to do with any country, so why stand up against us? Oh, that sounds interesting. Should I bring along a few men to scope them out? Your call, my cherished strategist. Perhaps there will come a day when I take a good look at them myself. Send word that the Victorian soldiers are our only targets. If anyone dares lay a hand on the civilians, they become an enemy of Dublin. Yes, ma'am. There are some civilians against us, though. We must first make them believe we're standing on their side, no? What the people need after such a traumatic event isn't harsher rule, it's all the help they can get. Oh, yes, and you are not to harm the rescuers either. At least not within County Hillock, and not in view of the locals. The fire's burning plenty bright. It's about time to put it out before it consumes everything, and renders this all a pointless charade. Soon the wounds will heal, and the masses will remember who it was that made them so cruelly suffer. and who it was that pulled them back out of the hell. Dublin warriors are not like the Victorians, and this idea will forever be etched onto the city's heart after its rebirth, like a scar.
What about the outsiders? If we stop now, will they see it?
Anyone who's wanted for a look has already seen it.
That's all we need to do?
Of course. What did you think was the point of all this? To make the tyrants' voices heard? Do you really believe that? Neither you nor I have an ounce of anything to do with Tara. To take over County Hillock? Only an arrogant clown would believe that. Victoria may stand on shaky, even precarious ground, but any of the Duke's armies could easily reduce Automatic City to ashes. All we need to do is make sure the fire burns so that all of Victoria will turn their eyes to it. And in the fire, some of them will have seen only profit, some will have made known their hatred, and yet some will have found faith. In a way, this is quite a happy ending, wouldn't you agree? Let's go. We still have one last thing to take care of. Once we finish that, it will be time for us to leave. The traitors who continue about on the stage are far more despicable than any clown. Before it's time for us to step into the limelight again, we should climb back onto the graves that Victoria was kind enough to dig for us. Such is the Spectre Force. Wouldn't you agree? Hill?
Yep. Hill. The very same Hill that was Colonel Hamilton's right-hand man. The entire city has fallen. Communication signals lost. We can't reach any of the teams. The enemy's charging the base. They're clearly got us vastly outnumbered. We can't hold here much longer. Report. Calling HQ. Retreat immediately. I repeat. Retreat. Colonel, we have to go now. We can't hold here. They have us surrounded. Go? Go where? Talk later. County Hillock's gone. Gone? Shut your godforsaken flap. As long as I'm here, the city will never be lost. County Hillock will forever belong to the Victorian Empire. They won't show you any mercy, Colonel. They have no mercy for Victorians. Please come with us. Go. Colonel! What are you standing there for? Run, with your tail clutched between your legs and your head hung in shame. Don't you ever cross my sight again, unless you have a death wish. Right. Right, then, we're leaving. Please, stay safe. Stay safe. On the battlefield? How contrary to the meaning of a soldier. Where's my blade? Here you are, old friend. How long has it been since you've last seen Gunsmoke? Since we last aligned a high-speed battleship together? The sound of turret fire and screaming grows ever closer, before falling onto silence for a brief moment. A silence quickly followed by densely packed footsteps that all come together in front of the tightly shut door. In the darkness, the colonel stands up from his chair and adjusts the collar of his uniform before he steps towards the entrance. He stands up straight, draws his standard issue saber, and raises it at what lies outside. The bright light of the blaze is coming surging through. My saber and I hail from Victoria. Meanwhile,
Boe, Cello, and I have made it to the communication tower. How is it looking on your end?
Leader, I have explosives planted on the platforms 1 through 7, just waiting on the enemy now.
Very well, let's start with number 1. Good, the enemy's heading in that direction. Watch out over there. Cello, climb up the tower.
Oboe, number 2 and 3. Oboe, I'm seeing more casters approach through the passageway. Be careful. Watch the casters attack. I'm detecting a strong energy signal accumulating. Keep your distance from the enemy. No, fall back immediately. Oboe, take your people and leave the passageway. The enemy's arts have too wide an effect area. They aren't even going to look for you. They'll wipe out all the platforms with one gigantic fireball. Understood, leader. Let's see who's faster. Oboe? Cello, Oboe bought us some time. Keep heading up. Get the word out as soon as you find the control panel. I'll stay here at the bottom to provide suppressive fire. 5 minutes. You have my word. Not a single one of them will be making it up the tower in the next 5 minutes. Shells, ready to fire. How's it looking up there, Cello? Still 10 meters to go. Are there hostiles up there? Crossbowmen, 8 o'clock. There's too many of them. If I head up there, we won't be able to hold the bottom of the tower. I can't get a lock on them. They're too far away for me to reach. This isn't the time to worry about that. Don't do it. You'll bleed out before you reach the control panel. Find cover. We can't drag this out. I know you're hurt too, leader. I'm fine. Don't give me that, leader. It's about 6 minutes. How many hostiles are there on your end? 20? 30? More? I don't even have the leisure to talk, right? It's 7 meters away. What's going on? Leader, I'm fine. Someone took out the crossbowman. What? Could that be? Leader, look who's arrived. You little menace. Hold on just a bit longer. Just a bit. I'll take down these fire breathers. Cello, Bagpipe's drawing their attention. Hurry. Leader, I got the control panel open. We're almost there. Almost. Cello. Her stones. Leader, watch out. What's going on? Leader. Bagpipe dives towards Horn, sending the two of them tumbling to the side. A large stone column falls from the top of the communication tower, leaving a hole where Horn stood just moments ago. Where'd this column come from? A Spectre Force caster? Is she one of yours? You killed Cello! Not a fan of people touching my things without permission. What do you mean, yours? It was the Spectre Force that invaded County Hillock. Not even going to say hi before you fire? That's your Victorian Army etiquette, is it? You. Are you thick? Don't you see you can't harm me? That you're wasting all your effort? The rubble. No weaknesses, no matter the angle. Before my lance shells even get anywhere close, she maneuvers the stones around her to block off the attack. Is that her art? Take a look at Cello's body. What's the stones that bored through Cello like that? Whatever did it's all gone too. So she can manipulate stones to defend herself and conjure them as weapons? Not the best news. Let's test her and see how far she can go. I'm sure we'll find an opening. Got me wondering now if this is some suicide attempt. Thanks to my man, I'm thinking you don't have much ammo left. If you keep shelling like that, you will have nothing left to fight with. Then you just have to sit and wait until your death comes. To think Harmony kept telling me over and over how impressive you were. Oh,
They're the true face of the Victorian army. Look at you. Helpless, nowhere to go. Is that all our Royal Guard Academy distinction has to give? The way I see it, you're much better than the barracks. I make short work of you. You hate the Victorian army, don't you? Yes, again. I don't hate soldiers. No matter whose orders you're taking, we're all poor little shits throwing our lives away in the mess of war. It's people like you I hate. You have a decent family background, and you think that gives you the right to trample a slot under your feet. What could be better than watching you kneel before me? Go, run her through. Still have the strength to block? You've got perseverance, Lupo. Much better than your fellow nobles who pissed themselves the moment they saw me. But you still can't work it out. You don't stand a chance. Our forces have taken over County Hillock. Yours are dead or shackled. Oh, and by the way, we've had eyes on you ever since you and your unit waltzed Mary into Hillock. We've been watching your every move. You have a spy in the barracks? You thought you failed because of rotten luck? Or you weren't trying hard enough misjudged? That's why you missed the chance? Wrong. Fate has never been on your side. Because Victoria's long abandoned you. You're more pitiful than all those poor sods dying ignorant on the field of war. You threw yourself into this bloodbath willingly, and now you're just a sacrificial pawn for your country. You mean, it's not just one spy? The military is filled with your supporters, even some of the top brass. In that case, what is your leader after? Is it Victoria's crown? What right do you have? Shut your mouth! How dare you doubt our leader's nobility when you're just a lapdog of the Asslands? What are you laughing at? Your hypocrisy. You grit your teeth talking of arrogant aristocrats and moneyed men, but you worship your oh so noble leader all the same. You can't make this stuff up, can you? And what? Do you know? The leader, she's noble far more than just her blood. She's strong and gentle. Huh, I get it. You want to buy time for yourself and milk information. Am I wrong? You think your tricks will work on me? You think it's going to matter even if I let slip something I shouldn't? Neither of you will make it to the top of this tower. And anyone hearing me is dead or soon will be. You'll need to try harder, little feline. You're pretty good, I'll give you that. Very precise control over your weapon. You're trying to adjust your firing angle to pick out any openings in my arts. Too bad. If we weren't so heavily injured and had more ammo, you might just have given me a few scratches. This is it then. Discussion time's over. Now. What? The column just collapsed on me? Man alive, my arms are sore with all that back and forth. That Vuvier... And I thought she was berserking like an idiot. I never realized I wasn't her target. It was the columns at the tower base. Damn it. Damn it! How did you know? Leader, the rubble around her's clear. We made the right guess. She's agile with those arts of hers, but she can only do one thing at a time. Doesn't matter whether she's shifting the rubble or to shield or using them as spikes. She's wide open while she's casting. The columns shattered her shield. Seize the day. Charge. And we go into the battle stage. But before we do that, one tiny little thing to add to this. So, we had pretty much the whole palette of enemies here that have been part of all of the stages so far, including the gargoyle-like Tombkeeper grotesques that we added into the narration in a prior episode. But today, we obviously have Mandragora. And it says here, one of the leaders of the Dublin forces, a caster who controls stone. Emerging from the darkness of Victoria, She has sworn to repay the humiliation she suffered at the hands of the nobles manifold. So yeah, deep-seated grudges. So, we're gonna go over the stage. And I did this... I don't even know when this was, but I had to clear it out when I was doing the challenge mode for this. And the last time I did the stage, I did it very haphazardly. So this is the team that I did it with the last time. Obviously, I don't do strategy guides here or whatnot, but this is the team I used, essentially. But yeah, the stage itself isn't too complicated when it comes to anything. The biggest hurdle on this stage is dealing with Mandragora herself. But anyway, for the beginning of this, I will leave the thing running at normal speed. There will be a section... Jesus Christ, that laugh. There will be a section that I will speed up, because it's gonna be a lot of slowly chipping away at health, kind of dealio. Also, while this is going slowly for now, this cleanup version of this stage I did base on, and I cannot remember whose guide it was, but I definitely used one and applied most of the strategy, I believe, from that guide, or positioning and units, but did my own spin on it, to be fair. And there she is. There's our little kitty cat with all the sand and stones swirling around her. All the stone bullets. So, pretty much the thing that we are going to be doing right now, as you can probably see, is deploying two healers essentially to keep Amiya alive up there. And using Amiya to slowly but ever so surely chip away on Mandragora's health until it's gonna be... Good lord, that sound. Until it's gonna be depleted once. Because this is obviously a boss stage, and it obviously has a boss with 2 stages. Or rather, phases. But yeah, a lot of this stuff on this stage is also preparing it for the next step. So let's speed it up here, and you will see it happen slowly. Also, freaking Blimeshine skill 2 has a very interesting sound effect. But yeah, as you can see on the top left right now, as I'm continuously deploying and moving away Project Red, she's essentially chipping away at the health of the pillars until they are in that glowy broken state, which means that one single attack to the pillar will topple it. So right now we are essentially just preparing the battlefield for the next part of this whole spiel. And that is pretty much it. Also, and yeah, here she comes. She's now floating, and that entire field around her is pretty much death. Also, I cannot remember why, But I definitely deployed, I think I deployed Neural there just as a backup. Because I'll tell you right now, she's not gonna be doing literally anything if everything goes correctly. And if you've noticed, in the top left corner where Mandragora is, just before the two pillars dropped on her, I use Therm X, because Therm has essentially a debuff which makes the enemy receive more damage for a while, and then the two pillars were pretty much both dropped at the same time to do massive damage to her. She does regain her thing again, but she also loses her thing again the moment she gets another pillar up her face. But yeah, this is pretty much it. That last pillar right there is gonna be her finish, and then we're gonna just speed up the rest of this thing. And there goes the kitty cat. And we speed up the rest of this battle. We're gonna use that last pillar over there to kill the gargoyle. Use that pillar on the left to kill those two gargoyles. And Helgar is gonna go super diesel against that last enemy. Speaking of the devil. But anyway, we, on the other hand, are now gonna continue with the story, with the after story of the stage. So let's begin. Did she fall down there? Leader, did we win? Oh no, leader, that wound. Hang in there, I'll help you up. Don't you close your eyes. Don't pull so hard. You're shooting pain through my whole body. Got it. Leader, as long as you're okay. Right, I can't go down just yet. The enemy's still... Huh. You think that was enough to bring me down? Victorian soldier dunces. I dug my way out of a grave by a bloody wastewater ditch, and I still have a score to settle with you, Victorian blue bloods. Oh, she actually managed to climb her way out? Well, isn't that something odd? Even if my shot didn't blow a hole through her chest, I thought at least she'd be down for the count. Arts. She knocked my lance a few centimeters off? She only had a few stones left? Flip, we won't get another shot like that. Feline, you may be the enemy, but your resolve is rock solid for sure. You've got my respect. Pfft. Who needs your respect? What I want is your lives. Come, Forest of Thorns. There's more columns growing from the ground? We can't stay here much longer. Leader, I'll carry you. Let's go that way. Fleeing? Think again, and never let down the leader. Wait, what's that sound? To the residents of County Hillock and the surrounding towns, this is a broadcast to you in real time. As you are aware, a great disaster befell this beloved city at noon today, injuring our friends and family and destroying our homes. Together we witnessed this heart-wrenching event transpire before our eyes. They have put us through countless tribulations, one after the other, for several centuries. We did not raise our voices then because we thought they had an ounce of mercy left, and that simply by enduring longer we would be able to coexist with them on these lands. But today the Victorian army pressed its knife against our throats. They blanketed our cities in a mist of horripathy. What they have done is far more merciless and horrifying than any catastrophe. We do not want war, but they have left us no choice but to fight back. If you can hear this broadcast, if you are willing to rise up and stand with us, wherever you may be, you can become part of our movement. With our flames, we will cleanse this country of the filth that has accumulated over the centuries. With our flames, we will comfort the countless lives lost in the fight against injustice. With our flames, we will burn open a path to a future of freedom and peace. We are not your enemies, we are your friends. We have and always will be one family. Remember our name. We are Dublin. Is that the Spectre Force? Are they broadcasting to the townsfolk? No, it's not just the city. They've got all the communications bases under their control. The surrounding cities are receiving that message too. Now that everyone knows what the barracks did, this is going to spread like wildfire. The scariest thing is, most of what they're saying is true. We've got no argument, no way against it. And even if we wanted to say something, we've got no way to send a message. We're in the worst case scenario now. Is this why you were trying so hard to take the communications center? You had to get news to the outside world, but you wanted to keep the enemy from doing the same too. We've lost, Hamilton. Both you and I, we failed utterly. No, we haven't lost yet. They've got their side out first, but it's better later than never for us. The Spectre Force is trying to dress themselves up, but we saw them burning their supporters to death, all heartless, slaughtering the townsfolk. We saw that with our own eyes. We have to get the word out. We have to show the true face of the enemy to the world. Yes, you're right. This battle is far from over. Leader? This caster... What's she doing? Is she spaced out? Harmony. Harmony, you bastard! You fooled me into coming here so you could make that broadcast! What gives you? What gives you? What gives you the right to speak on the leader's behalf while I have to sweep up the rubbish down here? Oh, I'm going to Londinium. I'm going right now. Whoa, that's a gust. Why is she so ticked off all of a sudden? Doesn't it hurt when she casts arts like it's the end of the world? Leader, watch out. It's about to blow over the column. Stop pushing yourself. Your shield's out of energy. You're burning your own flesh for it now. This is nothing. Nothing? What do you mean nothing? They're coughing up blood. You could wipe that for me. Now's not the time for your jokes. And if truth be told, they've never been funny. Not for 1 second. I can't always hide behind your shield, even if you order me to. I can't. I'll run out right now. I can take a few beatings. I think I can at least make it to her. Give her another taste of my spear. I've still got at least one more shot. She summoned all those columns at once. She should be at her limit. Almost. I'll find an opening. Bagpipe? Let me go. I will be insubordinate now. You survive this, and you can punish me with up-teens handstands. You can even get on top of me while I'm doing them.
As Mandragora begins to float.
She's flying. You don't know how to fly. You can jump up there with the rocks as stepping stones, but it won't be easy to hit her at the same time. Won't know until we try. Enough. You remember what you said just now, don't you? Which? We have to tell them. Right, we'll definitely get the word out. I won't forget. This is why we need to take her out. It's our only way to make it up the communication tower. Communications tower. They've got agents in the brass. Agents of the Spectre Force. She said it herself. Even if we make it up there, our message will never make it to Londinium. It's too early to give up hope, leader. You're the one who taught me to trust our friends. Right, I trust my friends. Bagpipe, that's why you need to make it out of here. What do you mean? Horn lifts her mostly destroyed shield with one hand and tightly grips Bagpipe's arm with the other. Don't waste what energy you have left. Hold onto your spear, activate the catapult, and fly out of here. The city is covered with hostiles, people guarding every exit, but none of them will be ready to stop you blasting out through the air. Bring all the information with you. Find someone you trust, and let out what's really going on with the Spectre Force. Londinium needs to know the truth behind County Hillock. Bagpipe, get out of here alive. This is our last chance. Leader! There is no other way. She knows this. All the words she would use to argue are stuck in her throat. It feels as though her eyes are about to pop. She's going to abandon her leader, her one and only remaining friend. She is a Victorian soldier. In combat, she has never once disobeyed the orders of the one whom she trusts the most. Your bloody cheap tricks. Fine, just one of them slipped off, won't change a thing. And the one that's left here, you can barely stand. Not going down easy, are we? Let's get it over with. I'm sick of this place. Meanwhile, in the city below... That's everyone, Uncle Oliver. I've talked to the locals already. They've found us a way out of the city that's safe enough. There are still a lot of hostiles around. Dublin, that is. The residents all believe what they say, that with the villains defeated, they won't harass the civilians anymore. But we need to stay vigilant. No matter the face they wear, I will never forget who got our good friend, our respected co-worker, killed. Right, give me another blanket to keep the injured girl wrapped, please. We can't let anyone see her until we make it to the nearest safe house. We have a long road ahead of us. I'm sure she would wish us a safe journey. Look, Uncle Oliver. It truly is daybreak now. Bagpipe, I told you to shy at no cost. What I mean by that is that you must make it out yourself, even if the rest of us die here. Don't look back. Bagpipe, I know you can do this. Only you can do this. The piledriver spear tears through the skies over the remnants of the city and bores into a swath of barren land. Bagpipe tumbles a few times before standing up. Then she plucks her weapon from the ground and grips it in her hand. She cannot look back. That's an order. She takes a deep breath, suppresses all the emotions welling up in her heart, and steps towards the end of the barren plains. Straight ahead, the real sun is beginning to rise. No matter what happens in our world, the sun will never fail to rise. Even if it's slow to rise, many will yet make their way forward, casting rays of hope, with their lives, one after another. And now, before we begin this next segment, the scene where Bagpipe leaves and gets to Rhode Island is actually depicted in, if I remember correctly, Bagpipe's operator record. So if you want to witness her getting in contact with Rhode Island for the first time, it is a bit of a funny one, but I would highly recommend it. You can find the operator record on this very channel very easily. Anyway, continuing in this very monochrome looking flashback. Midnight, rainy. County Hillock, unknown alleyway. Finally, you kept me waiting. Sancta, you are alone. What of the one you rescued? Where is she? Not something you ought to worry your pretty little head about. Listen, I know the formidable foe you are. How did she find you? And how did she convince you to protect her? Could she have reached an agreement with Laterano behind our backs? No, that can't be. They said there was a Victorian soldier working with you. So she chose to seek Victoria's protection. In that case, who sent you? Which duke? You sure you wanna waste your time thinking on something as pointless as that? My comrades are indeed in quite a hurry, but I suggest talking to you nonetheless. Whatever your employers promised, we can offer you much more. Wealth, power, titles. Uh-huh. I'm afraid you couldn't give me what it is I need. Dublin's power likely far exceeds your expectations. Please, do tell. What is it? Justice ain't gonna dispense itself. What do you think my gun's for? So you mean to say you are determined to stand in our way? Now there's a question worth asking. Should have started with that one. How regrettable, my lady. This is truly regrettable. It's time. 5 other silhouettes emerge from the shadows. The accountant, the convict, the emulator, the toxicologist, the bandit, and you, the illusionist. Mighty familiar names. Far from the first time we've met. You, the accountant, you've meticulously worked out the profit this war will reap you, and you're racking your brains to turn over more lives into bigger numbers, deeper black on your balance sheet. You, the convict, you escape from prison again and again only to commit greater crimes, get yourself sent back to prison to repeat the cycle again. You, the emulator, burning single houses and families hasn't given you what you need for a long time. Soon, not even burning a whole city will fill the hole in your heart. You, the toxicologist, you call yourself a scholar, but fancy titles don't hide the truth, that you're all caught up in heartless slaughter and one nasty scheme after another. And your next betrayal will take a few cities to hell with you. You, the bandit, living up to the name, you're thirsty to snatch anything can from the hands of others, and not just money either. You steal their dignity, and your lust for it will bring whole countries to ruin. And then there's you, the illusionist. You're really into those $5 words, trying your hardest to turn fancy talk into a political weapon, the kind to spark wars greater and uglier. If I let any of you through, that girl will die, and all that evil I just talked about gets to carry on, free and clear. So, she pops her last bullet into her revolver cylinder. It's about time for you to stand trial for the last time. This is your so-called faith? You got the wrong idea. My faith ain't exactly the kind you're thinking of. If I believe in anything, it's my gun. There is only one of you, and there are 6 of us. I got enough ammo. Don't worry, nobody's missing out. You will die here.
Lucky, I won't do it alone. Outcast, I understand everything you said. You've walked a great many roads. You've never looked back. You judged people with gunfire, but you know in your heart that the very last one awaiting judgment at the end of the road is you. I don't want you to get there. I don't want any of you to get there. Fate is there to be shattered. You may be happy with this ending yourself, but I want to try to change it. Right. Even if the days gone by showed me my failure time and again, even if all of you left me one by one, I don't want to, and I can't accept this. Outcast, give me this chance. Come back alive. Old friend, in the end, it looks like I'm not gonna be able to follow that order. Six bullets shoot out of her revolver at once. At the same time, 6 enemies are charging toward her. One of them is trying to hack away at her with his axe. Another is trying to spray a toxic gas at her. A third is trying to deflect her bullets with his arts, while a fourth is trying to take the chance to dash past her, toward the other end of the alleyway. But their actions will forever be frozen at the very moment they began. Before any of them can cry out in surprise or fall to the ground, they have turned to dust in a holy light. The moment she fired her gun, their judgment was already complete. The brilliant gunfire surges fiercely into the sky, illuminating almost the entire city. Outcast stands still, allowing the impartial flames to engulf her. Starting at her fingertips, they reduce her to ashes. Oh boy. Well, that was definitely an ending for a badass. Anyway, once more, this will be the final scene that I can recommend watching without spoiling yourself on the previous 8 chapters of the game. So let's get right into it. 9-20. The approaching storm. We sail for the storm. Back on board of Rhode Island. Leave it to me. You've traveled far to bring her home. I will take care of the rest personally. Ashes and her personal effects. There hasn't been an emergency transmission to Rhode Island's deck for 11 months and 27 days since the end of the Chernobyl incident. And there, literally dated into the day by Calcit, the time difference between the end of chapter 8 and the now ending of chapter 9. 11 months and 27 days. Less than a handful of days away from an actual full year. With many side stories and events taking place throughout the middle of that. Who's the victim? Outcast. Right, I see you're holding her revolver cylinder. I don't want to admit it, but I already knew the answer. I figured it out on our way here. I made a bet with her once, and it looks like she won.
Calcit, I won't be at the next meeting. Per protocol, you're in charge of an elite operator's funeral. But I want to be the one to send her off this time.
I doubt anyone will object. Pardon. Definitely not her.
Since the meeting's cancelled, I'll give you my final decision right now.
I know what you're going to say.
Then I'm sure you know what everyone else will say. The situation has changed. No one's happy about it, but we all know this is the only choice we have. We have to enter Londinium as soon as we can.
I'm sure you know that my position has always been the same. But regardless of whether the rest of you support my decision or not, I must emphasize that Rhode Island's direction will not be set on the airing of personal feelings.
You're telling me to forget about avenging Outcast? Don't worry, I'm angry at her, but I know my job. It's just... I need to see for myself what it was that killed Outcast. It couldn't have been just one person, or even several of them. Suppose we don't go looking for the truth. The darkness shrouding Londinium, and even all of Victoria, is only going to get worse. And at that point, it won't just be Outcast. I'll die. We all will. No one will be safe. Just like you said, Rhode Island isn't about avenging the dead. But I am sure we all want to let the living live.
In the canteen of Rhode Island. Where am I now? Did I make another wrong turn? Oh, whoops. It's almost time. I have to hurry. Uncle Oliver never told me how big this ship was.
And there is Reed. Actually named Reed. And in her normal E1 and E0 attire.
Huh? Are you... Wait, please, hold on. You... Why doesn't she seem to know me at all? No, it couldn't be anyone else. I've been meaning to find out what happened to her ever since I came to the ship, but they either don't know or wouldn't tell me. Maybe it's for the best, for her own safety. Hello. Are you reading The Legend of Ivanhoe? I've read it too. It's one of my favorites. Don't you think this part of Victoria's history makes for a really fun read?
It's popping back into my head now. Hey, look, it's Reed reading a book. Read. Anyway.
Is it fun? I suppose, but it's not real. It's a novel, that's all. Right, I suppose that is true. Do you want to read something else too? I have lots of books. Oh, no, sorry. It slipped my mind. I didn't bring any of them with me. If you like this one, you can have it. Huh? Are you sure? Thanks. I'll be going now. Oh, okay. Bye. Will we see each other again? She has another book on her. A poetry collection? Seamus Williams. The name rings a bell, and I think I've seen that cover before.
That is a very interesting thought as well. She's reading that poetry collection from Seamus.
This must be the place. Identification code? What is that? Is it the new operator guide? I don't want to be late. I'll just knock. Come in.
By the way, I don't know what it is with Amia's face here, but there is something to how how her eyes are drawn, the expression of it, that just simply screams, and I don't know why, it simply screams to me, I will murder you! Hey, what? Anyway. Good afternoon, Miss Willow. Or should I call you Operator Shelak? Oh, Miss Amia. Please, just Amia. That's what everyone calls me here. I'm sorry about this, Amia. You're so busy. I shouldn't have cut into your work to come and see me. When I did my physical the other day, I heard you only got about 5 hours off a day. Folinik's always so worried about my health. Don't worry though. I'm in excellent shape, and I've actually wanted to see you again for some time. So this used to be Outcast's office? Yes, but she didn't get a lot of use out of it. We only just convinced her to accept a title change 2 months before the incident. She told me she was essentially half retired before she came to County Hillock. But she still insisted on taking the mission. I often think back to everything she told me in those few days. I think she had probably made up her mind already to take on everything. That's just like her. All our elite operators are pretty eccentric, but Outcast is particularly special. She makes the kind of difficult decisions that others would have a hard time with. Right. She told me she gave up a really high position in the church because she failed to mediate peace in a war. I know she left the church, but a failed mediation? I don't remember seeing that in her file. Actually, that sounds more like something that happened to Misery. I don't know why, but taking someone else's story sounds like something she'd do. So yeah, the story we heard before that Outcast was talking about the mediation that she failed at, was apparently not her story, but she adopted the story for herself. Apparently it's something that Misery, that we just saw earlier, was tasked with. But she apparently looks like she took all the blame on herself, potentially. But yeah, anyway. This may be why some people found Outcast a little insincere. No, even if you tell me not everything she said was the truth, she's still the most sincere person I've ever met. You really think so? I'm not too surprised. Outcasts always had an eye for people. I know your time is precious, but would you mind telling me more about her? I don't mind at all. This is going to take some time though. As long as you have time, I'll always be willing to listen. Okay, I think we'll have lots of time on our way to Londinium. Several months later. Are you done fixing that yet? Oh, keep your head on. What's the rush? This town's so far from anywhere. It's tough to find a replacement circuit for our comms. Let me do it. Any equipment you touch always goes up in smoke. That's never changed. I mean, it's been forever since the last time this safe house was used. I should never have listened to you and taken this route. We've been drifting all over the place for the last few months, and we spent half that time in the middle of nowhere, eating sand. It's only been a few years. How come my Shenshen's so much angrier in the eyes there? Stop mumbling. I can hear every word. You've got the loudest whisper. What's the rush, she says. Why aren't you in a rush? You know how long we've been out here? Forget the Spectre Force. We haven't found anything that even resembles a clue. If I ran into a situation like this back when I was a cop in Lungmen, I would have told you to give up. No hostage would last this long. No. I know the captain's still alive. And likewise, she knows I'm doing everything I can to save her, and I know she's looking for a way to regroup with me. Fine, whatever.
There's no helping you. If I could talk you out of anything, you wouldn't have been dragging me all over the place.
Just goes to show how sweet you are on me, Shen.
Enough. I understand persistence. All those years back when I had my heart set on finding her, you always supported me. Anyway, let's not talk about this right now. The point is, you heard it yourself. The County Hillock incident's a military drill gone wrong. That's what they told the public. Everyone who's hurt or sick will receive compensation and be resettled, according to government documents anyway. If Dublin or the Spectre Force had taken over County Hillock when you left, then they've long since left the place without a trace. That's not going to change, even if we go back to see it for ourselves. I agree, but I still remember everything I saw there. No matter how peaceful their things might seem, County Hillock and the cities around it have gone through a great change. Besides, isn't it all the more scary when you think about how those changes are so well hidden in plain sight? If the enemy choose to lay low after they made such a huge ruckus, that just says they're brewing an even bigger scheme. Victoria might be looking at a crisis way bigger than the Hillock situation. I believe you. That's why I'm here. But I'm not sure there are many more out there who do. That's why we need to work harder. Then I guess we need to figure out a way into the big cities. Do you remember Hughes? The round one who tripped and bumped his head just about anywhere in training? He's the vice chairman of Tradesmill Cities Business Alliance. If any of our classmates caught wind of anything on the down low, it's him. Actually, before you even brought it up, I'd been thinking of asking Hughes to help. No, not just Hughes. I wanted to try Big Green, Ginger Bill, and all the rest. I've tried finding them myself. It was plenty tough though. But now we've got you here, plus the supplies and intel support that Rhode Island so generously provides. So I'm pumped up on hope.
She's huffing the copium. And hopium.
Let me warn you first, I have no idea how easily they'll be convinced. Huh? Bloody son of a... Why'd you yank me that hard? Shen, the transmitter's on. An emergency message from Rhode Island? They've got our location before the transmitter broke, right? Could they have been trying to reach me? What's the matter? You look like that message socked you straight in the gut. Oh, I think I get it. Is it about her? Sure enough. I need some time to think about what's to come.
And on board of an aircraft.
Jessica, how's the mission going?
Yep, that is Jessica. With a big, fat, bulky sniper and what looks like a big, fat riot shield on her right hip. And longer hair. Still have not seen Jessica Alter, but she exists. another one of those when kind of situations. When is this gonna happen?
But anyway, continuing. Don't let your guard down. Relax, Liscarm. I may not have been back to Victoria much, but we have entry permissions for our aircraft. The navigation system is working fine, too. Our mission to escort X-Pac back to Colombia isn't difficult in itself, but the situation could change at any moment. I was actually pretty surprised when you got their message, though. The journey's been pretty much smooth sailing so far, but having things really gotten so bad? Phew, sorry, I couldn't really show it when the captain and the rest of the team was there, but I'm actually rather nervous about this. Your captain's not there? Oh, no, she left with a few others not long after we've got to Victoria. I guess they might have another mission? There's obviously a reason that the X-Pac evacuation was assigned to the Department of Equipment and Applied Technologies. Is there an obvious reason? It's not necessarily a bad thing that you haven't noticed. Do you mean they are still having discussions with others? But the Victorian government hasn't given us any orders. Per the confidentiality agreement, I shouldn't be speculating or commenting on the other department's information. Forget what I said. Focus on your mission and let me know if anything comes up. Remember, although this mission is Black Steel's, our agreement with Rhode Island still stands. Alright, I got it. Once Rhode Island squads makes it to the outskirts of Londinium, I will rendezvous with them as needed.
Back on Rhode Island. And there is Siege.
We're getting close.
And the doctor gets lines again! Yay, it's been so long! Weena, are you nervous?
A few moments ago, Dr. Kaltzit asked me if I was ready. And I told her I don't know. And I still don't know, even now. So I can't say for sure that I'm not nervous. I can't help but wonder, if someone's gone for too long from where they belonged before, do they still really have a place to go home?
Also, I love how these two sentences are could basically be one just giant box, but pretty much fill in each other, so I'm gonna read them both, but select the first one. When I woke up, I didn't even know how long it'd been since I left. And, Ami and everyone welcomed me.
I heard about those days. You just awakened, and right after you had to take command and go through everything that happened at Chernobog, most people couldn't have handled things as well as you did. Rhode Island needs you. All of us operators need you as well. There's no doubt about it.
I'm sure someone is waiting for you in Londinium too.
The Glasgow gang must have a new leader by now. They could never have set roots down in Londinium without one. As for the others, I doubt my absence has left Londinium wanting.
If you want the answer, we must keep going.
You told me before, you wanted to go to Londinium to find the truth. Are we all bound for there together? It really does lighten me up, knowing I won't take this journey alone. I hope the answer that lies ahead won't be one too ugly. But whatever it is, I will do my best to shape it into something half decent with my hammer.
And now for one final scene change. Big bitch Teresa's. Have they arrived? Soon, your majesty. The Nachtserer King and the Vampire's Prince of Blood will arrive in Londinium in 3 days. With the court reassembled, the Sarkas have not been so close to reunification since before the Civil War. We mustn't let any other factions get in the way. Speaking of other factions, your majesty, the envoy from County Hillock is still in Londinium. We've already reached a conclusion on that. It's just as you said, your majesty. They don't truly wish to form an alliance. Had they such a motive, they wouldn't send a lunatic of a servant in their place, as they hide whole behind the curtain. There is no chance she lays hands on what she wants. But that is not why she left. The force she brought with her has been involved in multiple skirmishes with noble remnants and local residents in Londinium's outskirts. They're probing the situation in Londinium, as well as evaluating our strength. Yes, your majesty. If we appear weak, the powers behind her will step onto the stage sooner. Yet if we take a strong approach, she will lose her value as a pawn and face a hasty disposal. All those who would wield the blade that is the Sarkas will find themselves slain by that very blade. She is not even the same class as Tallulah.
They may come from similar bloodlines, but Dublin's leader and Tallulah are nothing alike. Compared to Reunion, the troubles the Dublin steers in the south have more than proven their strength, and it proves they are either ready or are preparing to rip Victoria apart. If one seeks to kick a man when he's down, no one will only appear at the climax of the chaos. One will only appear at the climax of chaos. At this stage, so long as the objective before us has nothing to do with the Sarkas, no matter what they are scheming outside, they are unworthy of my attention. But I will not allow any more chaos in Londinium. Have Manfred do something about this. Dealing with the nobles is far too simple a task for him. He needs growth, and he needs it fast. Manfred has always known how you feel. He's made the preparations. Still, not enough. Any movement from Rhode Island? For the past few months, their usual so-called commercial activities have proceeded apace. Ever since their landships sailed off from Casimir's late last year, they've come close to Victoria several times. Since then, they've scarcely left our watchful eyes, and never for long. As soon as they near Londinium. No. No, as soon as the few of them enter Victoria, report to me at once. Or perhaps you may report to her directly. Of course, Your Majesty. The King of Sarkas knows how to reclaim her promised crown. Episode 9, Stormwatch, end. But not fully for us, so one more final time. While this was very vague, and definitely includes some stuff, or rather characters that have been present in the story so far prior to this, it is still very vague on what they mean with anything. That's why I said it is still okay to see the ending of this without actually watching or reading the first 8 chapters. But everything that happens here right now, before I click on this, is true and true spoiler territory. So, final warning, if you have not watched and seen the story up until chapter 8, this will be pretty much spoiling everything. So, for everybody else, let us begin, shall we? So this is 9-21, titled Relit. Never did the fire of the tundra die out. "9:33 a.m. Foggy. Nameless Barrenlands, inside Rhode Island." Also says inside of Rhode Island. This is pretty much the server room of Rhode Island. "Good morning, Closure. Here's your breakfast." "Oh, thanks." "There's no mold on it or anything, right?" Probably not, I guess. We've been stuck here for days thanks to that shitty weather. Who knows how bad this will throw off our schedule? This flavor. I mean, a catastrophe caused this thick fog. It's not going to be good if we end up coming head-to-head with an aftershock. Should I turn in the environmental Reginium monitoring report for last night right now? Where's Kaltsit? Is she still in the operating theater? Yes, she's been there since last night. Don't worry about it right now, then. Thank you. Can I help you with anything else? Let's see. You wanna finish this health food for me? I mean it. This stuff's got a real funny taste. You want me to eat all that? Calm down, just kidding. What's the matter? New mail? Out in the wasteland?
Is there a town or a messenger outpost close by? No. If there was, we would have been in contact with them a couple of days ago. That's weird. Let's see. The sender's Jigstra. What? Jigstra? I thought he was in Colombia. To Closure. Dear Closure, it's been a while. How's things? Going well? The last time we worked together was back in summer, right? I was really shocked when Grace got in touch with me and told me about your plan. Screwing around with Casimir's corporate networks isn't exactly small potatoes. I gotta hand it to you though, that's exactly your style. Either way, it was a good time. Second only to that hit we did in Colombia once. It was perfect. Meanwhile, in the operating theater, acute lesion successfully removed. Keep the infusion going. Okay. Wound is clear. Is clean. Hold on. Confirm the patient's vitals. Okay. Doctor, the patient's heart rate is abnormal. Body temperature is dropping. Calm down. Adjust transmural pressure. I need an injection intervention right now. Prepare to stop the bleeding. Okay. Oh, she's busy saving someone's life. Back to the email. But you know, it doesn't matter how many banks we hack, how many millionaires we screw with, even if we manage to take control of half the city's drones, put a stop to all the machines, and scare the cowards shitless. It's all just fleeting, and anything fleeting might as well be pointless. Before I forget Closure, there's something I need to tell you. There was this one time I mentioned a friend of mine who's got a ripophy. Do you remember? On the bridge of Rhode Island? Hey everyone, it's time to change shift. Blaze! Did something happen? Nope. Well, given this visibility, the surveillance equipment's about the only thing we can trust. I doubt even the sniper operators on lookout can see anything in this weather. You're right. All this fog is a major buzzkill. Storm Eye wouldn't have had much trouble with the fog. If only he had left just 2 weeks later. Too bad. It's been a few days since we stopped though. If anything's gonna happen, it should already have happened by now. You guys should head back and get some rest. Yeah, sure. Back to the email. That man was as healthy as he could be. He had a decent education and a decent job. He was married, though no kids. He didn't even know how he caught a ripophy. He just showed up to work one morning to find a posting on the company notice board about his infection. Everyone started looking at him different. To tell the truth, I was too lazy to look into it all that much. Someone was either jealous or they were trying to set him up. Some kind of infighting. Anyway, after that, his life was ruined. He lost his job and his wife left him. How can you blame them though? We all know a ripophy is infectious. I just met him by chance, and I decided to help him on a whim too. Making a few quick changes to a database here and there isn't much for people like us, you know? A few keystrokes and we changed a man's fate. Almost magical, huh? So, that's what I figured. I thought it was unfair, so I did that for him. I thought I was helping him. But things didn't unfold quite like I expected. He didn't go back to the life he once had. I met the guy again in the barren lands outside Colombia. He had joined an infected organization. He told me his comrades in Orsas needed his help, and that's why he went there. Back into the server room. An infected organization? So this guy got caught up with the infected too.
Closure, take a guess what I'm trying to tell you with this story. Eyes. They went to great lengths to find me, but I still don't know the slightest thing about the infected. They were travel-worn, their equipment was outdated, and most of them were malnourished. But their eyes were full of light. Closure. It took us a long time to find this ray of light. A very, very long time. Anger, unwillingness, the readiness to make sacrifices for a belief, the mind to give your life for a certain cause. Same as you and your bodies over there. We want to change everything. We want to change something. We know what's wrong. That's why I decided to help them. Columbia, Casimir's, and the Sarkas homeland you told me all about. That's what we've always been doing. Always, even now. That's it? Is that supposed to be it? Hold on. What do you mean now? Whoa, what just happened? The tremor came from below. It was huge too. An explosion? What's going on? We told everyone ahead of time how difficult this surgery was going to be. We told them we needed absolute silence. This is the operating theater. What? The security door's been... What? All the bulkheads are locked? Huh? That's... Stay calm. Contact all the operators we can. Tell them to head to the confinement immediately. Also, tell Blaze that she may damage the ship's facilities as necessary. Right. Everyone else, continue the operation. We'll leave what's going on outside to the other operators. There is nothing more important than the patient's life on in the operating room. Don't get distracted. I'm truly sorry. I'll get ready right away. Meanwhile, in the brig... I thought this would have been more difficult. But this must be our first formal meeting, leader of Reunion. You are Reunion. You don't seem very surprised. I simply know better than anyone that the fires of infected fury cannot be extinguished so easily. It's just... It's been a while, leader. It's you. Don't remember me? Oh, of course you don't. I was just a nameless pawn. Someone lucky enough to avoid letting you kill me back in Chernobog. But you, Tallulah, are leader. I will never forget your damned face. You joined us when our team passed through the village that was destroyed by the taxmen. Your name is Valia. You remember my name, huh? So what about Leontiev, Dennis, or Arseny? Do you remember them? Do you know what happened to them? I'm here because I want to ask you myself. Why did you do what you did? Who gave you the right? How could you betray us? Let go of her collar. Now's not the time. We need to leave this place first. You heard him, leader of the infected. We all want answers. Many of us have suffered waiting for the chance to get them from you. Don't forget, those who most deserve to judge you, to hear out your defense, and to determine your fate, are the infected who rose and died for you. Tallulah, you need to come with us. Closure, are you okay? What was that just now? What kind of sick joke is this? Closure? You've gotta be kidding me. He's definitely somewhere close by. He paralyzed Rhode Island systems. The surveillance and observation systems? Huh. Not bad. I got a transmission from logistics. Some of the operators have been ambushed by... Reunion? No way! Reunion? No. Hurry. Tell Amia right now. They might be here for Tallulah. I'll get these systems back up. We need to act fast. Yes, ma'am. Why am I getting a message now of all times? My control screen's locked?
Good morning. Good morning? Hard at work fixing your system closure.
You're kinda mad right now, aren't you?
Oh, I should probably mention this video is pre-recorded. You don't have to waste time tracing me.
Oh, also, I went through the trouble of keeping your medical department system modules separate when I did all the prep work overnight. Spares the innocent. You know, I'm a stand-up guy, aren't I? Jigstra. Sorry about this closure. I know it's pretty unchill to nail you with this hookup you so graciously gave me. But still, I'd do it again. You know me. No regrets. When you gave me the prototype back then, you said it was, at the time, the best option for taking down Colombian network programs. You called it your trump card. And doing my wet work the past couple days, I realized you weren't lying. Rhode Island's security system works very similar to the logic you handed me. So yeah, I abused your trust. No doubt about that. But you've got your position. I got my judgment. That's how it goes. I still remember how I met you, just a Sarkas back then, and how we became friends. I hope we're still friends, or, like before, war buddies. That said, Closure. First and foremost, I'm a rebel. We've always been rebels, always will be. Where do you get off? Come on! So damn full of yourself. No, now's not the time to worry about this. Is the comm system still working? All stations. If Ascalon and Logos were here, you wouldn't be running around like you own the place. Hey, get out here. I know you're hiding on both sides of the hallway, but this is Rhode Island, and you aren't fooling me. Right, Blaze, this is Rhode Island. It was this very same corridor where I first saw you and the other elite operators come home after our triumphant victory. Guard? I hesitated. When I first learned about the plan to attack Rhode Island, of course I hesitated. I'm not going to justify it, but I think this is exactly why I have to come back, both to take responsibility and to bear witness to this plan's execution. Responsibility, huh? Right, if I'm here, I can't make excuses. If there's even a single operator who thinks it, then I am indeed a traitor. So you're with Reunion now. What are you doing back here? The few survivors who managed to make it out of Ursus drifted out into the borderless Barrenlands. First we got to Colombia, then Leithanian, and then Siracusa, Victoria. All these countries, they were infected trying to get in touch with us. Reunion managed to set a fire, and from the tundra all across the world. But what are we supposed to tell the infected who chose to stand up for our cause because of Tallulah, and to the infected who chose to stand up against fate because of the Ursus Reunion movement? How do we break it to them that we failed in Chernobog, and that Reunion was yet another pawn tossed away by the great powers once it exhausted its usefulness? There are way too many infected left in the dark, infected who lost friends and loved ones. That's why Reunion needs the truth. They need the leader to answer to them. And then... then we will start all over. Sarkas? No, you're no ordinary mercenaries. Damn straight. I heard that Nutjob W started chumming with you guys after that. Well, whatever. After the captain died, not all of the guerrilla fighters decided to part ways with Reunion. Hand Tallulah over. If Reunion still exists, then she belongs to us. Huh.
You think we're gonna talk this over and come to a nice agreement? Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Tallulah's got Lungmenite and Rhode Islander blood on her hands. But let's not forget there's blood on your hands too. The captain's and Yelena's. Don't you think for a second we'll go easy on you? Nine, the barrier has been activated. This whole area is sealed off. We just need to deal with the hostiles in here ASAP. Good. Get the team ready for rendezvous and exfiltration. Sure thing. The enemies are fighting back. We don't have enough manpower. We're not fighting for the sake of fighting here. Prioritize the evacuation. In your dreams. You aren't getting away with that easily. Don't even think about it. Why can't this ever be easy? Boss, you go on ahead. Right, be sure to catch up. I'll see you later. Confirm the exfiltration route. Confirmed. No trouble at all. We'll make it out of here without a hitch if we keep to the plan. Good. Contact the team outside. The plan is a go. Roger. Hold it. Stop. You are not leaving. I won't let you through. Tallulah, you should not have left that room. Are these reunion? Are they here to rescue you? Bonnie angry. The leader of Rhode Island herself. Well, the word rescue isn't very appropriate here. Not that it matters. Now I do hope you'll understand, she's coming with us, and she doesn't have a choice. No, she's staying here. Ursus and Lungmen both have a right to prosecute Tallulah, and naturally Rhode Island has a reason to imprison her. But Tallulah also owes us an explanation, to Reunion and to the infected. In that case, why not trust Rhode Island and wait until Tallulah can give you that explanation? That's the same thing Guard said to us. He wanted us to trust you. And Shen, Lungmen's Superintendent Shen once said she wanted to create fair terms by which an infected like her could be judged. But what even counts as fair? Chernobog and Lungmen have seen much sacrifice, so much needless death. Even if she had 1,000 excuses, she's still guilty. Rhode Island is welcome to forge that future, to wait for it to come, but Reunion, the ones she betrayed, they don't get a say? Answer me, as Rhode Island's leader. In that case, we can wait together. The shield guards are willing to believe, and so do Rhode Island operators, that there will come a day we give everyone an answer. But right now, Reunion is trying to snatch her away from Rhode Island through violence. How is everyone supposed to trust in Reunion? I don't want the infected to see any more bloodshed. I don't want to fight the Reunion movement again. But why must you... Even if I'm willing to wait, and there are others who are, Reunion cannot wait. What? That's all I have to say. 9, we have to move. We can't waste any more time with her. Let's go, Tallulah. Wait, you can't? That's not for you to decide. Everyone, stop the Cautus. Watch her arts. You're strong, Rhode Island infected. There's no way I could stop you alone. I'll take that as a compliment. That mean you're letting me by? No, I was just thinking that at least Yelena gave her life fighting a true warrior. Ah, too bad. I'm in a hurry though, so you guys are in for a hard time. Crossbowman, stop her. There's more of you. Wait, you... What's that you're holding? The captain's crossbow. You've been taking good care of it. Thank you.
But as long as we choose to stand up, it's too early for that crossbow to be sealed away as a mere memento of the dead. All hands ready. This rabbit, she's so young. How is she this powerful?
Out of the way.
I signed up for this ambush ready to sacrifice myself. Come, Cartus. I saw you battle at the core city. Honestly, I admire you people. But I won't give in, even if the infected have to die here.
It's flowering season. Are those flowers? When did... You take non-lethal shots, even at a time like this. You're a worthy leader, Rhode Island. But it's about time you got some sleep. No. You can't...
Can your arts work a little faster? I mean, how much time is it going to buy us?
Enough. Have all teams moved to a current position. The aircraft will be here.
Wait, 9. Jigsaw says he's got something approaching us fast on the camera feed.
Are there other operators?
No, that's not human. Stop that thing! It's after 9 in Tallulah! Whoa!
Just... what is that? Crap, my arts can't...
God, I love the music change at this point.
You... Silence isn't an answer, Reunion. Now, here's my answer. Not that I am given a choice, as you said.
9, we don't have the time. We can't hold that feline and that monster for very long. Damn it!
30 seconds more.
It's charging you. It's charging you again. 9.
Rhode Island. I'm not going to convince anyone, nor will I force anyone to accept what they think. But it's not over yet. I will wait for that day to come, whether it's the day she spoke of, or the day you did. I will wait for my so-called judgment. But until then...
Flames rise from her fingertips, like a great wall built of fury.
I will live.
Amia! Don't touch her! You step in front of Amia, shielding her. The suffocating high temperature briefly dazes you, though the fire sparks continue to dance in the air, leaving you two unharmed.
Relax. I made sure the flames went around her. You still have a long road ahead. I can only hope nothing will cloud your hearts.
It's time, 9. We can't wait any longer.
I know. Well then, we'll meet again, Rhode Island.
Wait! Is that a low-altitude aircraft?
Take that thing down.
It missed?
A Colombian low-altitude aircraft. They've been wanting
waiting for foggy weather. Set Amiya down on the floor. Quick.
Okay.
So, that's Kaltsit. Guards said that if, including Kaltsit, there were just 3 elite operators around, our ambush wouldn't have worked. That's why today, that was our only chance. How long have you been preparing for this? A long time. So, where are we going? Where it all started.
Is Amiya okay?
Calm down. She passed out, that's all. It's no mere art, though. It might be plant toxins. Blaze. Take Amiya to medical. Alright. I can see it on your face. Don't blame yourself. The Sarkas was no run-of-the-mill fighter. But I still let them get away. If only I had gotten more answers out of Guard. They came prepared, and we weren't. Hey everybody, how's everything? Amiya! Let's get a damage report and take care of the wounded first. We'll talk about the rest later. The guy played me like a fiddle. His ambush could have been avoided. Damn it. I gave him that thing because I trusted him. Dr. Kaltsit. I am listening. This ship, Rhode Island, might be fighting itself under frequent direct threats just like we used to. I want to hold an emergency meeting right now. We'll be entering Victoria soon. We don't have many operators at your disposal. I know. Well then, Doctor. I'll have you assist closure. That look on her face, it's seldom seen.
Yeah.
At least you stood up and shielded Amiya in the end. Thank you. What's this? Your new cuffs. They track your position in real time, and if you try to use your arts again, you aren't going to enjoy it. Tallulah, you are our prisoner. When did you join reunion, Luminite? Every soul who walks this world is fated to die. Let alone the infected, and let alone me. That said, the humiliation the infected have faced and the fury of the enslaved have not been answered for. That's why I can't die for nothing. Well, this comes to an end. When this comes to an end, you will die. Then let our brethren tear down the banners of the old era and set all injustice and tyranny ablaze. Then, and only then, scatter their ashes on my grave. But I know, of course, what you and your followers seek first is the truth. It's like you and Shen were cut from the same cloth. You know her. I do, and not just Superintendent Shen. I know Shen Hu Shi, so I can tell you two are alike. That's for another time, though. Sorry, everyone. I made you worry. Amiya, are you okay? Yeah. I couldn't stop Tallulah. Reunion has been tracking our ship under cover of fog and catastrophe for at least a dozen days, and they had infiltrated our systems long before that. They didn't make their move right away, and instead waited until we were least prepared. We will get Tallulah back, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that Lungmen and Ursus no longer have a reason to keep track of the Rhode Island landship. We're getting closer and closer to Victoria, Amiya. We are. If he managed to take my system down, then I can trace him too. He could have wiped all the records in time. There's gonna be some clue he left behind, like an origin terminal, geolocation info, and how he forged everything. Just watch, I will find them.
Sorry, Amiya.
It's okay. It's strange. Dr. Kalsit, Closure, Doctor. I'm getting a weird feeling about this turn of events.
What a coincidence. I've been getting a weird feeling too.
Maybe certain things are fated to happen, and we, sooner or later, have to face them. I think this isn't the end. We will meet again, Tallulah.
Meanwhile, somewhere in Victoria...
I found a messenger who can help. It's one of my old... Shenshin? Are you spaced off? No. It's just... I'm getting this weird feeling. Whatever. Is everyone from Yan that sensitive? Got some kind of sixth sense? Exactly. We solve cases with nothing but intuition alone. Huh? Can you really? Stop being an idiot. Let's go.
It's cold. This cold wind and snow used to be a familiar sight, yet it all feels so foreign now. The snow breeze carried with it many tiny grains of rock, pricking away at the Draco's face. Ursus's tundras are so much harsher and livelier than what she faintly remembers in her fading memories.
It's cold. How long has it been since I last felt such cold? A few months ago? Half a year? A year? Has it really been so long?
Like I said, why are we still keeping her alive like she did nothing wrong? Nobody wants to see Tallulah hanged more than us. We've been through it all over the years, from our beginnings in the tundras all the way to the end in Chernobog. How do you think we stomach her betrayal? We don't know the whole story of Chernobog, but it's fishy, and we need a more concrete answer. Why should we even trust her? Leave it to 9. The captain wouldn't want to see the infected morale fall to rock bottom either, but 9 is a bit more calm when it comes to this mess. Of course she is. She's a Lungmanite who joined us halfway through. She doesn't know what it means to be part of Reunion. Watch your mouth. Where did you think our comrades who left for the other countries started their journey? They started from the snowfields beneath your feet and made their way across the world under the watchful eyes of that disgusting traitor. Do you think hanging her will solve the whole thing? Sorry. I'll cool off.
It's the infected workmen from Londinium. They keep looking for help, trying to build relationships with other infected. Victoria, they rose because of you, Tallulah. And that's before we even say you are a Draco. Just as you said, you don't have the right to die as you please. If all Reunion across the world rose up in arms because of you, then either the resistance thus far has been futile, or we will need some new tinder for our fire to crackle loud again. That's why your next destination is Victoria. It's more than that, Tallulah. You still want to stay in Ursus? I'm looking for someone. Someone I should have burned to ashes. Who? An evil god who calls himself immortal. Why? To resist him? You know how big this country is, don't you? You have only a few months. It's like a needle in a haystack. That's enough time. I will find him. You've gone quiet again all of a sudden. I remembered something. Here we are. This is it. This place. This used to be Reunion's stronghold. Of course, I only heard about it from the survivors. I have no idea what it was like back then. What about you? Do you remember? The silent warrior stops in her tracks. Amid the vast white blanket brought forth by the Ursus winter, the abandoned stronghold is almost entirely covered in snow, leaving not a trace of its former appearance. Even Tallulah finds this strange. It is as though she can see those scenes unfolding before her. She can immediately tell where the campfire used to be. The walk was difficult, but the team was as hardened as they could have been. The soldiers once gathered here to sing together and warm their ever-starving stomachs with a soup that had only a hint of salt for taste. And now, where the campfire once burned, there stands solemnly a misshapen stone slab. That's a cenotaph. It's like a monument. It was built by the warriors who survived. No matter how the living judge you, no matter what the future holds, you must return here first. You need to question yourself. 9. We've scouted the road ahead. We'll go around the village to the west. We'll rendezvous with some fighters there. We don't have time. Have everyone go on the double. We need to make it back to the stronghold sooner than planned. Okay. Is something the matter? I will never forget what you said to us in Chernobog, Tallulah. And I definitely won't forget what you did in the core city. Everything you did, every decision you made, I will have you answered for them. Answer? Don't even think about running away. You heard him. You're not safe here. We'll meet up with you up ahead. But you don't have much time. Go. See for yourself the sacrifices you trampled and hold them in your heart. Etch them into your brain forever. Remember them. The Draco begins to walk in silence. Her footsteps alone remain on the white snowfields. With each step on the thick snow, the mud below is imprinted with her weight. Tallulah walks tall, with her back perfectly straight. Aside from that one winter, when the slowly fading warmth behind her drained her of breath, she has never once slouched her back. The names etched on the crude cenotaph appear to have been scrubbed often. They are starting to fade. It feels as though only a brief moment has passed. At the same time, it also feels like an eternity, to the point that the world itself falls still, and that the weight of the emotions falling onto the mud amidst the snow can only be borne by the land. From afar, the warrior appears as both a solemn statue and a tree growing in the snowstorm. Her roots must dig deep into the earth. Her figure can only expose itself above the snow ever so slightly. Beneath the hidden soil, the massive roots trickling out of the Draco continue to expand and steadily take hold. At this moment, even the silence itself is engulfed by the snowstorm. The warrior raises her head,
A snowflake flutters downward onto her cheek, dried up before it can dissolve. The snow ended long ago in actuality. It's hard to believe that the northern wind granted her this bit of kindness, with the clouds dispersed and the sun shining down brightly. The weather is fine today, a rare occurrence here in the tundra. It's cold. Looks like I need to get used to this weather all by myself again. Sorry, I can't take too long. I need to go now. There are many to whom I owe an explanation. One day we will make it through this snowstorm and reach that end we must ultimately reach. But right now, it looks like this place needs a flame to awaken it. I'd better hurry and start a fire. And that, my dear friends, is where chapter 9 fully ends. Tallulah is free! Holy shit! I clearly remember reading first time through this extra epilogue that first off I was like confused what was happening, and then when shit started to go sideways I was just losing my absolute mind while reading through this, like holy fuck. But yeah, Tallulah is free and apparently she is out to hunt Cachet, which might be, for anybody right now who has followed this story, obviously, up until this point, be like, wait, didn't she stab the shit out of him with her sword pinned to a goddamn chair and he bled out? Well, he is called the Deathless Snake, so who the fuck knows? Either he has body doubles, or he can regenerate, or he, just like he tried to take her mind over with his own, pretty much in a sense transferring his mind and memory and knowledge into another person, making him immortal. He might just be doing that very same thing with another person, and she's just maybe now on a hunt for every single one of them. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. She's definitely gonna go berserk up his ass. But very interesting. And yeah, Reunion is also on the move, but we've seen, outside of chapter 9, we've seen Reunion in a couple of places, and they definitely, after the end of chapter 8, started to pretty much become the organization that they were once already. Meaning that they were trying to help out the infected instead of trying, well, commit war crimes. But whereas instead of protecting and fighting against people who were actually harming the infected. But yeah, they're definitely on their own agenda, and from what is told here, looks like they are also headed for Victoria. But yeah, I don't know what the actual time window is, but considering it says several months later, it is making me believe that the next arc is actually taking place, like it says, several months after the end of this chapter. Now, how many months? I have actually no idea. To be honest, I have actually no idea. Maybe throughout the thing we will get another moment like Kalsit did just now, and she's just gonna be like, it's been 5 months. But who knows? We'll see when the time comes. So, next episode of the main story will obviously be chapter 10. And oh boy, that will be a thing. All right. Chapter 10 Shatterpoint. It will be time to visit Londinium. Also, the next episode in this main story narration series will probably, and we'll see when I get to the recording of it, but it will probably feature 2 videos at the start. One is a embedded video into the game itself, which you can already see here on the very left, where it says watch prelude. I will, like for other stuff in this game where I did narrations for, I will try to get a higher quality video, considering the bitrate on this in-game video is piss poor on a bigger resolution. So probably it won't matter for anybody who is listening and watching this on like a smaller screen or a tablet, mobile device or whatever. But anybody who is watching this on a normal monitor or even TV, it's the bitrate of the video is bad. Oh boy. But yeah, I'll try and get a higher, at least 1080p version of it for the next main story episode before we start off properly. And there is another video that I wanted to include for the end of chapter 8's narration originally, but that video was already like, what, 4 hours if I remember correctly, so I opted out of it. Plus might be a good idea to use it to start off chapter 10, considering we are now back with the Rhode Island crew, and it's might fit a bit better in, considering it's that specific video that I'm talking about is tied to a lot of stuff. But yeah, anyway, as a quick reminder as well, coming this weekend we will have another side story in the game, so then, as I said in a community post, that will be featured on the channel, and after that is recorded and done, we're gonna be going back into the main story. And yeah, I think that is all that is on my mind right now. But yeah, that is the plan for the big stuff. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this ending to a chapter, and next time we begin with the next one. Man, we will be actually on time done with these narrations before chapter 11 releases on global. And like I said before, when chapter 11 releases, I will handle the narrations for that chapter pretty much like I handle any side story, which means that the episodes will be coming out for that one, not for chapter 10 that we're looking at right now. For chapter 11, the episodes will be pretty much coming like every second, third day. But right now we're still gonna keep sticking to the plan of like, what, roughly a week and a half between episodes. I know it's a bit of a long wait, but they are pretty much filling in the gap in between everything else that is happening. So yeah, anyway. Like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed this end of the chapter. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.